Today's date is August 25th, 2026, and present with us is the road crew supervisor, Bear Taylor. First of all, do we have any minutes? Thank you. Sets. One for August 4th and one for August 11th, 2026. I would entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, second.
Seconded.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir. You. Okay, Bear, it's all yours.
Morning. I emailed over those reports this morning, so if you have any questions on those, feel free to answer any questions on them. Again, our work order reports for the last couple of weeks, says request for the last week. Speed and traffic reports for Forest Park and Jefferson Street for the last week. I left those on stealth mode again for the whole week because the first week we had them up there was not a complete week, just to get some better data. Jefferson Street really doesn't seem to have a huge problem, but there are obviously people doing in that 30 to 35, a couple closer to 40 range. Forest Park really surprised me how bad that one is. They're both sitting in that 60 to 65% of violations of users, but the numbers are lower on Jefferson Street, but we were seeing upwards of 60 on Forest Park Drive.
60 miles an hour. Yeah.
Coming down, or is it
Coming
coming
down.
down?
Yeah, so it's just there. There's kind of that blind corner up above the pump house there. It's just up above that. So I'm gonna send that report over to the sheriff and just let them know, because it does show the time frames that these violations are happening. Maybe if they have deputies in the area, it might help them. But definitely surprising. I did switch those to where the signs are displaying this morning. I did have someone contact me over the weekend with really concerned that our sign wasn't working. So those are displaying speeds. We'll have those go for another week and can get some comparable data. Knock on wood, kind of a quiet week for requests, just some requests for some grading. Clancy Creek is a pretty hot topic right now, as well as Sheep Camp Road. They're both in, Sheep Camp is definitely in bad shape. We had some intentions of doing dust pods on it this fall, but I had it located and we've got some major fiber lines in that area, and we just, with the amount of time we have and the resources we have for our manpower right now, he said it was best just to get that road regraded. I did tell him to get some extra moisture into it, get it compacted again, spend a little more time getting our washboards and everything cut out. I told him I'd rather him take 3 days and do a good job than 1 day and just get it done. So they are working on that road right now.
Can I add something to that? What it is, I was approached by 3 different people because of that, but it's being taken care of. My understanding is they've got another, I guess, I don't know, for lack of a word, subdivision or something going up further north.
So,
and all those concrete, those cement mixers, ones that are tearing it up.
and I reached out to Brandon as the gentleman. So there's a gentleman, Brandon, I can't remember his last name. He's bought the property way up
Okay.
past there, and he's building a house. And doing a lot of improvements to the property. They did a lot of fencing and a lot of work up there. I did reach out through an email to him to just see if he could maybe talk to his contractors about slowing down and watching their speeds. I mean, I was there yesterday and I had one of their pickups shooting roosters going up that hill, and that doesn't help our road at all. So unfortunately we can't, unless we park the trooper, a deputy right there, there's not much more we can do about it, but we have reached out on it. But yeah, that road is in really bad shape. I think that's one that through the winter, we need to do some discussions and talking. One of the big problem areas there is where it's reduced down to a narrow width and 15 miles an hour, where we have the houses right there, but there's also an irrigation ditch on the uphill side. If you look at the surveys, those houses are both in the right of way. So I don't know what the plan or what the possibility is of doing anything there, whether it's looking at moving that ditch or forcing people to move their houses. But that is a big concern there. And then just the road in general, again, as long as we get our millings like we're anticipating from the MBT project next spring, that's probably gonna be one of the first places we put them, is that hill. At least up and over the top where the worst of it is. There
That's
are
what I've been telling.
other sections that do get washboarded, but not any worse than the road. But that hill is just so bad with people coming off of that Highway 2 at 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
There's no drainage right there. So
Are you gonna mill in front of that pinch point where the irrigation in the houses are? Is that upper millings as well, or not?
Where at?
You just said the house is right at.
Where it's narrow?
Yeah, are you gonna
No,
mill
I
that?
don't want to put millings that far up. If
Okay.
I can help it.
All right,
I just want to get up and over that hill and
Okay.
then probably down the backside.
Like the
So
Archie.
it goes up,
Mhm.
kind of flattens
Yeah,
out, and
where
there's a
it's
hill up
not.
over the top, and then it flattens out right
Right
before the
house.
bus stop, and we probably will go to the bus stop
okay.
for the bus turnaround.
So I was just thinking, if you have hard surface right in front of that house, they're gonna be going 60 miles an hour.
They already do.
Oh, do they? On the dirt?
And I've got to get a 15-mile-an-hour sign back up there, but there's just, there's no room between the road and the fence to put a sign, so we're gonna have to figure out where we might have to move it down farther down the road or something, but. And technically, that shouldn't even be a 15. I understand their concerns with speed with their house right there, but according to the statutes, we
Right.
can only go down to 25 on that road.
Yeah,
Until we get that speed ordinance redone, though, I will leave it at 15. Yeah, and then Clancy Creek, we've monitored that one really well. And there are a few potholes and speed or washboards on it, but it's not any worse than normal. We're trying to push some of these roads a little bit later into the fall just because we need that moisture. Everything's so dry right now, and I'd rather not go grade them today and have them fall apart in a week and have to go do it again before winter.
fire danger too, you could spark.
Yeah,
Pretty easy.
it's just, we're finally starting to cool off. If I look next week, we're supposed to be in the 70s, but a couple of low 80s, and then it starts cooling off even better. So
Okay,
we should start seeing some moisture and cooler temperatures where we can control that moisture better. We did receive an anonymous letter with some photos from a resident on South Hills. They do a lot of walking in the mornings up there, and there's a few driveways where their driveways are washing out onto the road. It's been a known problem for quite a while. She just asked if there's a way we could address it or contact the homeowners. It is an issue up there, as well as many of our other roads. But we could potentially look at, there's probably about a dozen houses up there that we could send a letter to and just let them know that we need them to control the water and run off their roads better. And most of them also like to plow their driveways out across our road and leave a lot of berms. So I think we could kill two birds with one stone there and send them out a letter, just letting them know of our concerns with it and see how it goes from there.
yeah, I think that's a good idea. Like I say, the runoff and the snow plowing, if you can
Yeah,
get some kind of a
and,
letter that.
and the garbage cans, because they love to put their garbage cans way out in the road too, and that's a problem on that end.
Yeah, they do that on South Hills quite a bit.
Yeah. So, but that's an easy letter we can put together, and then we'll get the address of that. Better that, the only other phone calls have been just some like questions on right of ways and road ownerships, nothing too major there. Just some other items I do have with me today. I got the plans from Great West Engineering on the Boulder Cutoff Bridge. If you want to take a look, right within the scope of work we were planning on or anticipating of replacing the deck with a glulam beam deck, and then adding essentially a curb along the edge of that to help keep traffic in the center of the bridge. So if you want to take a look at that at all, I think at this point in time, and I got to confirm with Carl, but I think we're ready to put that out to bid so that we could potentially have work done on that next spring. The big holdup was the environmental side with the migratory birds.
Yep.
And this was the money from the state.
Yeah, that's the rapid repair program
Okay,
from
cool.
WT, so
Nothing's changed, right?
yeah, we should be ready to move forward with it. I'm gonna just confirm with Carl that we're at that point, we're ready to go to bid for it. We can release that this fall, and
Will these repairs get rid of the weight restriction?
Yep. yes, that would remove the weight restriction, because the reason for the weight restriction isn't the condition of the bridge so much as the deck itself. It extends too far past the outer edge of the girders. So if a heavy truck was to get too far to the guardrail, then it loses that weight rate.
Gotcha.
So by putting that curb on there, it prevents them from getting beyond that restricted space
Mhm.
to the edge, but it'll also add a guardrail to it, which right now it's a 2x4 guardrail. It's not something I would want to lean across. So, just make that bridge a little safer. But until we get a plan or some ideas down the road for, some TSEP grants or something to replace it, where there's no possibility of us putting a wider bridge there right now. But I don't really see the need to spend that
Yeah,
money on
probably
that
not.
bridge right now.
Yeah, not much need, cause there's not that much traffic there.
We have had quite a few requests from one person for a wider bridge, because they had bought a newer agriculture implement that was too wide to fit across there. But that's $1 million bridge that I really don't know that we need to replace right now.
Right, yeah.
The biggest concern is just getting that weight restriction off of there. But yeah, it is pretty low traffic as well. So, just to follow up on the training I went out to, I call it a training more because I learned a lot. Last week out there by Harlowtown, it was Shellnut. I believe it was the actual town we were near.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting little place, but
Mhm.
so the day the day they had us come out for this, it wasn't so much the perm design as it was the Portland cement that they were using. I guess they ended up using the perm design the day before. If you wanted, you're more than welcome to look at this. I can make copies and forward. This WordGen was the one that was putting on this whole event. They're affiliated with John Deere. They make the big mills like we used up on Corbin Road. They call this full depth reclamation, is the actual process of milling down, grinding up whatever surface is there, adding in a stabilizer of some form for treatment, rolling it back out and having a better road. A lot of the information the gal, Jessie, I believe was her name, she really knows her stuff. She's very educated and experienced. A lot of the information though comes from there's a basic manual for asphalt repair that I believe was put out by DOT, federal DOT many years ago, that talks about the different ways and types and processes for these full depth reclamation. They do not include products like Best Pods, Permazyme, or any other enzyme in their manual because they're not a proven product. They use Portland cement, lime, and a couple other products depending on the application. The other thing that they say is that none of this is a surface treatment. It's all sub-base. So it's to build a structurally sound road, and then you can either chip seal, pave, or put additional gravel on the top for your surface. So it does help limit the amount of washboarding, but the bottom line they were trying to get across to all the counties was we can go put whatever they refer to as snake oil we want to on a road, but they're all just temporary. None of it's going to be a permanent fix, and none of them are really intended for the surface of a road. On the flip side of that, though, there were quite a few, I believe there were about 25 or 30 different counties represented there with their supervisors. Talking to a lot of them, it's about 50-50 on the feedback of Permazyme, but a lot of them, even the ones that weren't using it anymore, not using it as much, as it does work within the expectations or within a reasonable expectation. You're not going to hit that 10-year guarantee that they're claiming, but most of them are seeing that at least a 2 to 5 year range of the amount of maintenance is drastically reduced.
Nice.
As long as the material fits the product. So
Right.
we've got samples sent out to them. We'll see what it comes back with as far as the viability for our materials that we have. And kind of go from there. The cement is really interesting. It works really well. There's roads, especially in the Whitehall area, that I think would be fantastic candidates for them because they use it a lot in Tennessee in the south and more swampy areas. And it helps build that sub base. It's not going to sink in those swampy areas. However, the cost, as you said, you're about 4 times with what you would be for a dust pods or Permazyme type treatment. So, we're about 3,000 to 4,000 for a mile. You're talking about 12,000 to 17,000 a mile. So,
So my question, in the long run, with that time frame, would it pay in itself?
I think
for that
so.
timeframe?
And it depends on the road. Something like Paracastle, Franich, Hanson, those roads that are down to the
Yeah.
bottoms there. If we had the funding to do that, I think it would be of a benefit, but we would still have to have gravel or chip seal or something to put on top to
Mhm.
build that surface. You know, I don't think it's something that we just say we can't afford it, and we don't look at it.
Right.
I think we have to look at some creative ways to, you know, come up with a plan to say, maybe we can do 5 miles of it this year and get that road fixed or something, but. It's kind of an interesting process. They just have probably $1 million distributor truck that they're promoting now that looks like a big box van, and it just drives along and it dumps dried Portland cement powder right on top of the road.
Mhm.
And then they come behind it with this mill and a water truck hooked to that, and they just grind it up. It mixes all that powder in with your soil, and you run a sheep's foot roller behind it, knock it flat with the blade, run a smooth drum on it, and your road's done. So pretty neat process. I'm interested to see what the long term is on it. I see no reason why it wouldn't work as long as you have the right soil. That's something they really promoted as well, is the testing of your soil to know what product works best for it. Yeah, because the only treatments they recommend is either a chemical stabilization with Portland cement or lime, a bituminous stabilization with emulsified asphalt or foamed asphalt, and then a mechanical stabilization, which is no agent, but it's more of like a structural reinforcement to hold roads in place so they're not blowing. But so it was really interesting, some information. I think we're on an okay path with what we're doing, but I think long term we may have to look at another, look at moving money around and look at a long-term project for some of these roads. But the biggest thing I think for us is maybe looking at spending less on treatments and more on gravel and getting roads reestablished, getting good quality gravel on them that we can maintain in a better fashion. I think we can do pretty good with that.
So if you use the concrete treatment on, to go back and cover it with something.
That's what they recommend. But we'll see how that does out there, because they're not covering it.
They're just gonna leave it as is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that would be interesting to know.
And I think it would be good. I think it'll still do a really good job. The key thing with all of these treatments, unless you put chip seal or asphalt on it, you're always gonna have some form of dust. There's no way to get away from dust with a dirt road.
Right.
With traffic and everything else, you're gonna get those fines coming up and they're gonna break up and you'll get some form of dust. Now, is it gonna be unbearable amounts, or is it better than what we have? I bet you it'd be better, but.
Yeah, cause even the dust pods after we got it, where it was stable, it's to pop dust up.
Yeah.
And it was solid surface too. It'd be
Yeah.
crazy how much it dusts up.
You'll always have a little bit of fun on there, just in the interest of getting out of their way. We'll move along. If you have more questions, feel free to reach out on that. I did get an email from a gal over the weekend. There's some, looks like there's some damage on White Bridge down here on White Bridge Lane. Some of the concrete around the bases of the guardrail starting to break away. So I'm gonna look at that and talk to some people that know a lot more about bridges than I do about what we can do to repair that before it does become a major problem.
Didn't look like you got hit or something, or?
No, this is where.
Just
Yeah, it's about 4 or 5 posts just on the one side. It's just cracked out and blown out around the base there. I was gonna talk about, we've discussed this at length in the past about how we want to go about notifying the public about us going in and doing work in the right of way, cutting trees down or whatever the work may be. Me and Dylan talking about it, we'd really like to get a black and white on paper policy that's approved by all of us, so we know moving forward, as long as we're doing this, that you guys are okay with it, and we don't have to worry about calling every time and
Right.
like, oh, we did this, and then you guys said, well, we should have done this. So I'll work on putting that together instead of discussing it right now. I'll get kind of a draft put together, and then we can discuss it more next week. That way we just know, there's no houses on this road. We don't need to worry about calling everybody, or there's a bunch of houses here. How long do we want to wait? Just so we're all on the same expectations there.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
I do want to talk about with our manpower right now, not looking any better, the possibility of putting ambush ridge improvements out to bid for a contract. I think we're gonna be at that point if we want to get it done in any reasonable fashion. that we're gonna have to go that route. I'm already down, right now, basically 2 guys, and next month, there's a good chance I'm gonna be down more. I have another guy leaving soon, so.
What's your, timeline? You're gonna try to do that this fall or spring or?
Well, it'd be great to do something this fall. I don't know if we have the time right now. I don't know if the weather is gonna hold out long enough for it to be completed.
Right,
We still have to get together and talk with some of these residents about, especially the one gentleman that has all the trees and landscaping right there in the right of way. What that looks like moving forward. So, maybe I'll get with both of you, maybe we can set up a time to go meet with some of these folks and just have that conversation before we do go to bid. But I just think that it's worth at least putting it out there and see what the dollars look like. We can always say we can't afford it, but.
right.
I just think that at that point, if we want to get it done with the amount of work that it's gonna take versus what else we have to do, I don't think it's all gonna get done right away.
So can Carl put together a bid package for that, I'm assuming?
I would assume they can do that pretty quick if they just take their.
They've already done
Their
it.
plans, they just need to put it in the paper
Yeah.
for a request for bids.
Yeah,
Should be pretty easy for them to do. So I'll email them when I'm done here and have them do that. And then just 2 last items, we have our safety meeting next Thursday on the 3rd at 7 o'clock. And then as Corey asked, I'm going elk hunting, leaving on September 16th. But I'll be back that following Monday, so.
good deal.
Hopefully,
I saw in your, report that you ran out of fuel out here. Did you figure that out?
yeah, so I was concerned we were having billing issues again with them and I called them. No, they were out of fuel at the depot.
Mhm.
So with everything going on with fuel shortages right now, it's kind of started to hit home for us. Because they were waiting for trains to show up with more fuel. So we did get more fuel delivered on Friday, so we're good right now, but
Okay,
they had just not let us know that they were in that situation.
yeah, that's interesting. You'd think they'd let you know.
Yeah,
There was also a complaint about Depot Hill up there. Do you know? I hadn't heard anything about Depot Hill. Is it the subdivision up there? Do you know, or?
I'm gonna have to double check that one, because I was doing some cleanup of our. The iWork changed some stuff on us, so I was going through cleaning up some requests this morning. But that might have been an old one that was
Okay.
already resolved. So I'll have to double check that one.
You guys usually do the subdivision up there once a year or so.
We try to do the subdivision at least twice.
Twice a year,
Yeah,
okay.
if not more. I know that we had somebody complaining about the railroad grade again.
Oh,
I'm not sure of another complaint on that road.
Okay.
So,
The road isn't that bad up there right now.
yeah.
It's pretty
you
good.
work for the county though.
I work for the county, but the road isn't good.
She'll let me know if it needs to be done. You're not afraid to let me know that.
That's good. We always like, employees that live
Yeah.
on the roads that can give us an opinion.
But, yeah, I'll double check that, because I'm not 100% sure what that one was.
Yeah, I was just curious. I hadn't heard anything. I usually hear when something's local here, but
Yeah.
not all the time. I was curious about which road you guys went up and graded and rolled and did a little extra on that road. How's that one holding up? Has anybody been up there or
Up on Travis.
no Wicks from
Oh,
Corbin
right.
up?
I haven't been up there since. I'm going to that direction this afternoon. So I
Okay.
was gonna go run up there and see how it goes, because I
I'm
need to
just-
go.
Curious if it's breaking apart again or watering it and rolling it and all that, doing that extra rolling might have helped hold it together.
Yeah, I need to get up there and run the road guard on it and check it out. I haven't been able to make it up there in the last couple weeks. But I got a couple others that I need to go run across and see what it looks like, so we know where we're at.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious.
Cause you know that Travis is holding together fantastic where we
Is
hauled in new gravel.
Okay,
That got pounded in really well, and that road's holding together really well right now. So,
good. Yeah, cause, Dylan said that rolling it, not just grading it and using the walker roller, whatever that thing is, and actually getting a big roller up there and smashing it down good, should help hold it together. I was just curious if that extra step's gonna be something we wanna look at in the future for these roads that just fall apart in a week.
yeah, the biggest key is moisture.
And,
The walking rolls are used not just all over in Montana, but all over the United States, and they usually do a good enough job if you have the moisture.
Mhm.
So, but sometimes you do need that extra weight to get on there. Yeah, I will let you know after I get up there.
Sounds good. That's all I had.
Anything else, commissioners? Okay, if not, we'll be adjourned. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Have a good day.
Do the same.
Thank you.